Hello, friends, and welcome to the Handyman Success Podcast. Our mission is to teach and inspire by sharing the stories and insights of our guests. Whether you're a prospective, new, or seasoned handyman business owner, you will learn practical business tips you can apply today and be inspired that you can reach your goals and create a better tomorrow. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Call, owner of Handyman Marketing Pros. We equip small, family-owned handyman businesses with modern websites and SEO to help grow their businesses online. I'm joined by my co-host, Alan Lee, who has built his handyman business to a point where it runs without him. He now teaches others, step by step, how to do the same thing through his Handyman Journey business coaching. You can learn more about our marketing and coaching services by scheduling a call with us on handymansuccess.net. So whether you're patching drywall, sitting in the office, or making your third run to Home Depot, we invite you to pull up a chair and sit with us on another episode of the Handyman Success Podcast. Hello, friends. Welcome. Today we have a special interview with Ben of All-Star Handyman in Michigan. And this interview is unique and has been highly requested because it's all around a new handyman business. So Ben has been in business for 5 months and he'll give you his full kind of background here. But this whole episode is going to be around digging into how do you start a handyman business? What are the biggest challenges? What are the questions? All these things that you kind of take for granted after you've been in business for a few years. We're going to dig into the details of how to start, problems, questions, and just dig into the details with Ben, who is fresh into the game. Ben, thank you so much for joining us today, man. If you could give us a little background about yourself, your handyman business, and kind of where you're at.
Yeah, appreciate the intro. Great meeting you guys and super excited to be on the podcast. So a little bit about my business. I started 5 months ago. When I started my business, I jumped in full time, had $300 in my bank account and needed to make rent. So you can do this from literally nothing, because I'm proof of that. And then, yeah, I've had it for about 5 months and just learning a ton of hard lessons and then also navigating how do you pay taxes? What's an LLC? How do you get, I'm a handyman. How do I get jobs? So there's just a ton of questions and problems you have as you're starting out as an absolute newbie that I've had to kind of go through the learning experience with.
Cool.
Yeah.
Personal question. How old are you? What town you're in Michigan? I could
Yeah.
not name the town.
Yeah. So I'm 18 and I'm in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Cool.
Ypsilanti, Michigan. All right.
So I started my business when I was 17.
Sweet. So how, you're pretty, I would say our youngest guest by a decent margin. What drew you to being a handyman? How were you led to starting this business?
So real, I needed to pay for rent. But I was looking at a few different business options, and this is what I would encourage for new people looking at it. Look at what you like doing and kind of what you're good at. For me, I've always been taking stuff apart since I was young and putting it back together. And I've just enjoyed ripping it apart, figuring out what's wrong, and fixing it. And so being a handyman really takes that skill set and puts it into application. But real, I just picked a business because I liked fixing stuff and I needed to make money to pay for rent because I needed a place to stay. So it was partially out of just necessity, but also with liking doing repairs. Actually, this is my exact process when looking at starting a business was I would listen to podcasts like yours in different industries. So I listened to one in cleaning as well, starting a cleaning business. But listening, anything, I would encourage any new business or anybody looking at starting a handyman business, listen to this podcast and hear what people are talking about it, different problems, so you have an idea of what you're going into. When I first started, this was probably the most valuable thing I did was getting this podcast and listening to it because I didn't even know what a CRM was. And when I listened to this, I was like, wait, that's how you can manage all your customers. And then it's not confusing. And then you can have your scheduling dialed in. This will fast track your success a lot just by listening to other people doing it.
Man, nice. We didn't ask for a sales pitch, but I like it. I like it.
No, it sells itself because you guys are actually valuable. I mean, this helped me a lot when I first started.
Hmm.
I listened to it like every day for the first month. Um, because you just like you guys cover so many important details when you're starting out.
Nice.
Well,
That's awesome. So, what did you do for work before you did this, or is this kind of your first gig?
So before that, I didn't really have anything. So
Hmm.
I didn't really have any tools or anything. So I started pulling weeds because like just weeds in people's houses. I made a post on Nextdoor like, "Hey, I'll pull your weeds. I
Hmm.
love doing it." And then like
My favorite thing to do ever.
that's what I said.
Please let me pull your weed.
Yeah, that's what I said. And then I got like 200 million people tell me that I can pull their weeds. So I was booked for like weeks doing that. And honestly, I was doing it and I was just like, there has to be a better way to make money. Um, so then I was like, well, let's fix stuff which is higher skill, and you can charge a lot more than pulling weeds.
Hmm.
yeah. One burning question I'd have, and I'd like to just get out of the gate is,
Yeah.
how and we'll kind of get into more foundational questions that you had when you started and questions that you still have as a new business owner. But I think one of the big ones people have is this imposter syndrome or feeling like, how can I charge for something when I don't really have much experience doing this, especially as a business owner? So, how did you
Oh, great question.
ultimately decide on your services and also over and like because there's a balance of I can do this at a high quality or at
Mhm.
least a medium quality for a medium price. Like how did you kind of rationalize and choose your services and how do you approach that as a total newbie 18 years old, like justifying
Yeah.
someone paying you for
Yeah.
this skilled trade?
Yeah, so looking at it like the imposter syndrome, because I think that's something I definitely experienced a lot of. Where like, man, I'm not that valuable. Um, and I'm sure new people starting out with maybe not very many skills would feel the same way. I think the trick is you're probably not that good, and that's okay because you're gonna get better. And when I first started out, I was charging $20 an hour as a handyman. I'm up to 50 now. Um, but when I started at 20, it's really hard for it not to be worth like paying you
Right.
because like you have to work so many. I mean, you guys probably charge. I don't know, Alan. You probably charge like I don't know what you charge. I don't know if you're public about
We
it.
charge 175 an hour.
Yeah, so like you would have to work 8 hours to be worth one of your hours.
Hmm.
And in 8 hours, I can my point being is that you just start out not charging very much and work a lot and learn as you go and be smart. Like anybody that knows handyman stuff, reach out to them and like talk to them about doing certain repairs every time you have something. And a mistake that I haven't necessarily made, but I've seen a lot of other contractors make is getting into messy jobs because they don't know what they're doing and they take on really big projects. I wouldn't recommend doing that. I would recommend slowly like expanding your skill set, especially if you have no idea how to do it. Another thing like going into it, reading owner's manuals, like I still do that, but they'll tell you exactly how to assemble something or install a product. So like my first time doing a garbage disposal, I've never done a garbage disposal. I was like, I don't even know how to like people say it's easy. I'm like, what's this like weird thing on here? What's this red button that I press? um, but read the manuals and that will teach you a ton. But back to the point about imposter syndrome, honestly, if you just show up and do what you say you're going to, you're a good contractor, in my opinion. Because there's so many customers that are burned by
Hmm.
not showing up. So even if you're not the most skilled, market that you actually show up and you'll do your best to solve the problem.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
That's really good. And I totally remember when I first started out in this business, like I knew, I knew I grew up kind of fixing
Sure.
dishwashers and replacing garbage, but there's still a lot of stuff I don't know. And there was a lot of stuff I didn't know. But I remember every day at lunch, like I'd sit down with my little peanut butter and jelly sandwich, on the job site, and I would watch a YouTube video, of a
Yes.
guy working or how to replace a garbage disposal or this or that, maybe even stuff I already knew, but just like different tricks of the trade. Like I'm still learning to this day like better ways to do stuff, and it's just like blows my mind what's out there. So don't be yeah, I think you're spot on. Don't be afraid of like getting out there, trying it, and then learning new things. And then I've
And
also told people that they asked me to do a specific job, and I tell them up front, hey, I've never done that, but I have
Yeah,
the idea of how to do it, and then as long as they're okay with that and they understand that I've never done it, but I'm pretty confident I can do it, that's a good foot in the door to give it a try. And people are usually pretty
that's
reasonable.
if, and I would say my top suggestion for people starting out is put your customers first, no matter what. If
Right.
you mess something up, make it right. And people are really lenient with you if you put them at the top. I mean, I've made mistakes, but I'll go back and fix it for free
Hmm.
and like make it right. And customers respect you for that. They'll leave good reviews for you for that. They'll keep hiring you for that. If you put customers first, even if you're not the most skilled, it's gonna be you won't lose.
Right. Yeah, it's business is actually pretty simple. Like you just answer the phone, you show up when you say you're going to show up, and you do the job for what you say you're going to do the job for. It's pretty
Yeah,
basically just be a decent human being. And if some old lady that you installed her garbage disposal for, and the day after the garbage disposal, like the air gap backs up because you forgot to knock out the plug of the
yeah.
garbage disposal, go back and fix it. Like it's not a big deal. And by you doing that is going to cement your reputation of someone that, hey, this guy answers the phone. If you ever need him, he's going to answer the phone, he's going to come back out and he's going to fix what needs to be fixed.
Yeah, and if I had to guess, like, if how important do you think that was, Alan, to like your business success? How important do you think the fact that people trust you and you have a good reputation is? Like, do you
Oh,
think you
yeah.
could do could you have your business if you didn't have a good reputation?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I mean,
Yeah,
especially in the beginning days when like if you go back and I have like a whole bunch of vlogs, like work videos. And there's a lot of those work videos where you could watch them and be like, what was I thinking? Like you're doing that wrong. You're using the wrong wood. Like I used to build gates out of Doug fir, and it's like, what am I doing? That's gonna rot out pretty quick. So it's just you grow, right? But some of those gates that we built with Doug fir, when they went bad, we went back and we replaced them. And then we actually upgraded. We started building gates out of pressure treated wood. Well, then we found that for whatever reason, Home Depot, Lowe's, they get their pressure treated wood out of the most crooked trees you ever see. So when it gets hot, that pressure treated just twists. But we've had multiple people that we've installed these gates for with pressure treated. They call us up, hey, the gate's not working anymore. Well, we go out there, we find out all the wood is just twisted. So we've actually done it free of charge. We've rebuilt the gates with redwood, which is the way that it should be done. But it took me many, many
yeah,
years to actually figure that out. Um, you just got to be a decent human being and stand behind your work. And if you screw up, just claim it. Be like, man, I screwed this up. I'm
100%.
sorry.
Yeah, so there's like three main points there I just want to clarify for everyone listening is putting the customer first. I think that that's kind of your catch-all because when you're putting the customer first, you're being honest
Yeah,
with them about what you can and what you can't do. Like Ben, you strike me as the guy of like, hey, I've never done this before, but you know what? I'm capable and I will figure this out because it's a garbage disposal. How hard could it be? So one is putting the customer first. Two is that the lowest prices you'll ever charge is when you're first getting started, and it's part of being in business for yourself. It's a learning opportunity. It's no different than when you first start a career or a job. You're getting paid the lowest that company's going to pay you, and then as you get more experience, you can
yeah.
you can get paid more. It's just in business you can shortcut it and have a lot more power over that pay by developing your skills faster or building your own business up. So want to call that out. And then thirdly, man, I commend you for reading the manual. We have it now a public record. We have an 18-year-old Ben here who is reading the manuals for these things. They are created for a
Praise the
reason.
Lord.
Let's
And
go.
so anyway, man, I just want to shout out that it's that simple. Of course, there's YouTube online resources, but there's a manual for the product, and that's going to have a lot of good information for someone just getting started. So, connected to this topic, Ben, what services do you offer like that you've kind of narrowed of like, man, this is where I started. These are good
Yeah.
services that as a newbie, I can confidently do and charge for.
So yeah, that's a great question, and that's been a problem I've been uh, wrestling with over the last couple months. The more I've talked to people that are successful in the trades and like owning a handyman business, the more important I realized it is to start niching down into like what really do I take on and what am I good at? So when I started, I had nothing. I mean, I would just if I thought I could do it like without really messing stuff up, I was gonna take it on. So I did like pre-trimming and all sorts of random stuff. But as I've progressed, I think it's very critical to have a niche. And the way I developed that was looking at what skills I had. I didn't want to get into like big remodeling because I'm limited on skills and that's a lot. That's really risky for me to like try to remodel a whole building without really knowing what I'm doing. That doesn't really make sense. But I can do a bunch of little repairs. And so it's not as risky. And then the other thing with that is I've listened to customers. Everyone I talk to, I'm kind of listening like, what are they looking for? And based off of different customers and people I've talked to, every time I've brought up that like, hey, what do you think of somebody just specializing in small repairs for like general home stuff? Everyone's been like, yeah, we need that because we can't get somebody to come in and like do XYZ because they only do flooring or they only do outlets, if they're like, and it's a pain for these customers to have to get plumber, an electrician, a flooring guy, a drywall guy to do all these things. Really helpful to have somebody that they can call to do general maintenance things, whether it be a drywall repair, fixing a door that's sticking, and replacing a garbage disposal. So right now, my services are niched into small in-home repairs, and then I don't do exterior penetrations as of now. Um, and I'm still working out that niche, but I've tried to build it from the ground up of like what do the customers need, and then learn the skills and build the service range according to that.
Cool. Yeah, so that's a big question a lot of people have is like, how do
Yeah,
I know what service to offer? And it's this blend of like what you can do, what you can learn. And again, I love how you put the customer at the top. And the imposter syndrome thing too. We'll get into marketing, I'm sure. But
yeah.
looking up All-Star Handyman, Ypsilanti, probably butchered that, Michigan. I mean, you pull up Ben's business online, guys, and you see this 5-star rated, 32 Google reviews, All-Star Handyman LLC. Like, man, you've done amazing work in 5 months, and so thanks for kind of coming on again for sharing all this stuff. It's so
Yeah,
topical.
happy to.
So let's dive into like the new business questions. And I'll kind of just open that up to Ben or Alan here as far as like what were some of the most biggest questions that you had and that you had to learn, and then we'll eventually get into questions that you still have and don't know.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. You want me to just dive into some of the first problems I encountered?
Yeah, go for it.
Um, yeah, okay. So when I first started, it was kind of like, okay, I've picked being a handyman as my business because I know it's something I can do. I like fixing stuff. How do I even get customers? I have nothing on my schedule. How do I find people? And this is like a huge question in business. It's probably half of the game. But when you're first starting out, call friends and family. In my case, just because of my situation, I didn't have any friends or family that I could call, but at Nextdoor. So I would scroll through Nextdoor every morning, and any post that was somebody looking for a handyman to do work, I would send them a direct message and be like, "Hey, I'd love to help you out. Is there some time I could come and take a look?" So I started literally my only lead source was Nextdoor and just scrolling and seeing people make posts. Now that's evolved more now as I've grown my skill set and knowledge. But if you are somebody that wants to start a handyman business and you have no customers, I encourage you to go to Nextdoor and start DMing people because I found that to work. The conversion rate was like I'd probably send 15 messages and land one job. So it's pretty low, but it's better than nothing. And what else are you going to do? So
Right.
and you guys probably have some good ideas too, because there's lots of ways to get customers. What do you guys think is the best way to get customers when you first start out and have no reputation, you have no reviews, you have no tools? Maybe you have some tool. I don't know. It depends on where you're starting, but for me, I didn't have any of those things.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. And in fact, I get that question all the time. And I'm sure you do too, Jason. You're the marketing guy. I'll give my 2 cents and I'll throw it to you, Jason. But basically, what I tell people to do is utilize your actual community that you have right now. So what I did when I first started out is I made a really bad looking flyer. I thought it looked really good at the time. Man, this is awesome. I made a really bad looking flyer and I just posted it on my regular Facebook page. And what happened is friends and family, they told other people, and I ended up getting work from that. I remember my very first job was one of my old bosses, his daughter. She saw that, oh, you're a handyman. So she had me remodel her kitchen. I had never remodeled a kitchen in my life. Like that was something I'd never done. I'm like, okay, $50 an hour. So I would do my automotive job and then I'd go work for her for 4 hours in the evening and she'd pay me $200. And I'm like, yes, you know. And I remember the first night I'd swung by Home Depot and I got myself an M18 Milwaukee and I was like living big. Um,
That's
but,
amazing.
so I would do that and, slowly progress from there. But I think utilizing the community that you already have is huge. So whether that's on Facebook, whether that's, calling people, because even if people aren't in your town, they may know people that are in or around your town and may be able to connect you that way. So I think utilizing Facebook is huge. And then also I recommend for people is join Facebook community groups. So like we have ones here, Roseville, neighbors of Roseville, right? Join that. And then there's always gonna be people in there asking for handyman and then just be Johnny on the spot. There's like the
Yeah,
problem with that is there's like 300,000 people that say, "Yes, I'm a handyman," or "My
yeah,
uncle's a handyman and he could come out and fix that." But you have to set yourself apart, like, really address them by name, send them to your website if you have one, like send them any reviews that you have, your Facebook page,
yeah,
whatever you can do. So utilize Facebook. I love your idea, utilize Nextdoor. I think scrolling that for people that are asking questions. And then also just going door to door. Like that
yeah,
was my plan. I remember my day one plan, was to go door to door and try and find handyman jobs. And I remember I told my financial advisor that this was like a few week or a few months before I actually started full time. And he's like, "That's a horrible idea. You should," he's like, "You should get some work before you actually go full time." So then I actually started advertising on Yelp. That's what I did.
Okay.
And I got my first stuff. But I think door to door is great. I've gone door to door. It takes a long time. The conversion ratio is a lot lower than even what you said. But any way that you could get your name out there, and then obviously create a free Google business profile. I think that's
Mhm.
something that you have to do. And then every single job that you do, direct them back to that Google business profile to leave you a review because as it's like a snowball. As you start out, the snowball is real small, but as you keep building, that reputation builds and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to be a heck of a lot easier to find clients a year in than it is a day in. It's going to be easier to find people 2 years in than it was a year in. So that's kind of my 2 cents, but I think utilizing the community. But I'd love to hear from the actual marketing expert, Jason, on what your thoughts are on this.
Hook us up, Jason.
Focus up. It's my time to shine, baby.
There you
No,
go.
I'm just kidding. No, you guys have some awesome thoughts. Certainly overlaps with a lot of, I mean, a lot of what I would say. So just to kind of confirm, like, absolutely, your network, friends, family, neighbors. If you're a member of any other groups, whether it's Boys and Girls Club, the church congregation, the sports teams, whatever. Like, just let people know. It's really that simple. That's the great starting place. Make sure you have your foundation in place, print marketing, and some fundamental online. So, you need a business card. Get a business card from your local print shop. They're pretty dang cheap. Don't worry about it being the fanciest, danciest thing ever. When you get started, you just got to get started. Better is best. So just keep making things better over time. So get your base kind of business cards, maybe a flyer with focus services you'd like to, promote. Get your free Google business profile, start building reviews as quickly as possible. On quick pro tip on the Google profile, Ben, do this today, this weekend. Your primary
Yeah.
category should be handyman. You're listed as a repair service. If you
Okay.
update that to handyman, you are going to get a heck of a lot more visibility.
I didn't even know that was possible,
Yep,
but I
I
will do
got
that.
you,
I'll put
brother.
that on my notes. I
Yep.
appreciate it.
Yeah, that'll be a huge, huge help for you to get more visibility for handyman related searches. So anyone
Do you
out
have
there, if you aren't sure about your primary Google category, please check that. Make sure it's handyman. It should not be contractor, repair service, general contractor. And I'm speaking to the handyman businesses here. There's other what seems like, oh, that seems right, but there is a handyman category that should be your primary, which is the biggest ranking influence.
for
It sounded like a question. I'll pause.
Yeah, for those of us that are not technically advanced like me, do you have a resource that will walk people through establishing kind of a Google business profile and doing that handyman thing, whatever you just said?
Yeah, there's inherent bias in this because this is what I do. But if you Google search handyman marketing ideas, handyman Google profiles, like we'll have articles that'll be at the top of Google for that. If you go to handymanmarketingpros.com/guide, that will get you to a marketing guide that talks about this stuff and then everything else that uh, I've got listed here plus a bunch of extras as you grow, but the fundamentals are all there. Google business profile optimization, where to go set it up. Just Google search, create Google profile if you haven't started one. But that's absolutely critical in building reviews. But anyway, not to get on a tangent on more nitty gritty optimization stuff, but it's a
Yeah.
really fundamental, low hanging fruit that when someone gets it wrong, it can really hurt them. So make sure your primary category on Google is the handyman. Even one step before this, guys, is create a business Gmail account like All-Star Handyman at
Yeah.
gmail.com. Create a separate, don't use, Jason called 19, whatever,
WTX 6
yeah,
billion
yeah,
GD.
yeah. Like whatever your personal hobbies are or were in high school, college, that your email reflects that, basketball superstar 2795 at Gmail. Like, please create a business Gmail because you'll use that to create your Google profile. Also, you can put that on your business cards. It's just that base layer of professionality there. So create the free Gmail account, create your Google profile, build reviews. You guys already mentioned some base online profiles, Facebook business page. If you are younger, more tech savvy, a base Instagram page. You don't have to use these on a regular basis. At least set them up, have your business name, phone number attached to them, your base free online profiles. So Yelp, Nextdoor, BBB is probably not one worth mentioning. They have a free account, but just your kind of base profiles. Google, Facebook, Yelp, in my opinion, are the kind of first three you should be creating. Um, Join your local neighborhood Facebook groups and engage in those. Most of them allow free business posting once per week. Also, when someone asks for recommendations, you can throw your name in the hat. To set yourself apart, have a little digital business card or a flyer that you can upload as a comment, as a photo. Facebook's algorithm likes photos and images. So if someone's scrolling through their feed and they see that neighborhood post, and it usually highlights a comment or two. If you got your business card up there, you're instantly going to get some brand awareness. And just get that comment seen a little bit more than someone that just says DM me or DM'd you. Don't be that guy. If you are, that's totally fine. But just start posting like a more professional response that's going to attract the kind of clients that you want because there are bad clients on these. That's part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get into this, but when you're charging 20, 30, 40, $50 an hour when you first getting started, it's part of the game. You're going to be working with, clientele that might not age with you as you raise your prices and become more professional. That's fine. You got to start somewhere. The last couple points here and then I'll stop yakking of my recommended base marketing. Where do you get customers initially? You got your Google profile reviews, like a website, yes, is early on, but if you have like a good, cheap, free option as a landing page or just your Google profile is perfectly fine when you're first getting started because it's expensive to start a business, filing LLC, all this stuff. The last couple points I've got here though is join your chamber of commerce, do networking. That is absolutely pivotal to establishing relationships, ultimately working to become the local hometown highly referred handyman. People love to support local small businesses. Ben, you're a young guy. I could tell you people love to support young
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. I personally had this experience as someone who had no idea what I was doing. I went to the Chamber of Commerce. That was a huge help. And then cold outreach is the last thing I've got listed here. Reach out to property managers, real estate offices, other bigger contractors that might need a referral. If you're really, really green, reach out to handyman businesses and contractors and say, hey, I'm really cheap subcontracted labor. I want to learn. I love construction. That is a potential outlet for someone just getting started that doesn't need to, be making, tons and tons of money out of the gate. You've got to earn your way and get some experience. So anyway, cold outreach, Chamber of Commerce, all these things that we discussed. I'll tell you from my experience, Chamber of Commerce was huge, having a base Google profile reviews with a website. And then like for me in websites, I mean, I went as far as guys like, this is just to underscore it takes some effort. I would film these really crappy quality videos of myself talking about a business and their website and seeing, providing recommendations and things. And I sent like at least 20 to 30 of those to local businesses. And I maybe got one or two really bad jobs, bad quality clients that could tell I was really cheap. But it takes a hustle. It takes a new business hustle. It's going to be a lot of work. But going through these fundamentals that we all just discussed here will be a huge help. Building reviews from all your past clients. I'll stop yakking there.
I love it. I love it. I think that's fantastic. Ben, I'd love to kind of you as like the voice of the handyman community here. What follow-up questions would you have for that?
Um, well, I think something that happens too often is somebody sees like, I want to start this thing and then they wait. I would say if you're listening to this right now, honestly, like just start, do whatever you need to do to get in contact with people and tell them that you're a handyman. If you have no skills and no tools, be like, hey, I'm great labor. I can shovel dirt for you. I can assemble furniture, like IKEA furniture. There might be varying degrees of skill with that, but just things that you don't need tools and supplies for. There are jobs for that. There's older people that want their, like 2 days ago, I assembled, or actually yesterday, I put together a shoe rack for this older lady that she couldn't do it herself because she didn't have the, strength to do it. And it's also a surprising amount of pieces for a shoe rack. But anyway, would require no skills to do. And there are 100% customers like that. And so if you have nothing, just start marketing yourself for jobs like that and be willing to tell clients that you're not set up to take that right now, but you'll reach out like maybe when you have tools. In my particular case, I started with nothing. I think most people should approach it more responsibly, I guess. Like you can build up some tools and some skills before going fully into it, which is probably the safer way to do it. It was a bit like, I'm going to do this thing no matter what. And then jumped into it full time with no money or tools. But a more responsible way to do it is to like start taking on side jobs. So I think you guys recommend this too, and building up from there. But top thing, if you're serious about being a handyman, join the Handyman Academy Mastermind. Coaching calls. We like, Alan, you were there, whatever, a couple nights ago.
Mhm.
New people can ask so many questions, and you can just like have cheat codes to like being successful because you have all these people that are already doing it and having customers and being successful. So if
Mhm.
you're first starting out, would genuinely recommend going there.
Yep. That's awesome, man. I love it. I would love we actually got the idea for this podcast because Ben called me up the other day or set up a phone call with me.
Yeah.
Which if you guys want to set up a call with Jason or I, you can do that at handymansuccess.net. But Ben, you had some questions for me that kind of like
Oh
spurred
yeah.
off this idea. I'd love to kind of hop into some of those. I know that we talked about pricing and a few other things, but I'd love to hear any other questions that you might have of like, how do you do things?
Yeah, so I put together just some notes for our call today. I'm pulling them up right now. Um, I have like 10 different questions. And these are just kind of more immediate problems that I'm working on solving. So the first one I have on here is like, how many Google reviews do I need in order to start seeing calls come in? I've gotten one call and 32 reviews. Like, I feel like I put a lot of work into getting these reviews, but not seeing a ton of calls. When can I expect to start seeing a return on that?
Ooh.
Yeah, great question. So I assure you that when you update your primary category to handyman, you will see your calls tick up. You will see your website
Okay.
visits, your impressions. And that's because that primary category is the biggest ranking factor for that you can
Okay.
control for Google, that you can control within the settings there. Um, So you can expect to start getting a heck of a lot more traction from your Google profile, Ben, when you update your primary category. Now, to generally answer the question, highly depends on your market, how much competition's there. But
Sure.
the beauty about the Google profile is that you instantly, assuming you got some reviews and have your primary categories handyman, you will instantly establish hyper local rankings around your physical location where you live. When you set up the profile, I'm not going to go to the depths here, but you submit your physical address. That should be hidden,
Yeah.
and you should show it as a service area business where your service area map pulls up so people can't see your address publicly. But Google collects that. And on the back end of their system, it's like a pin in the map. They know where you are, and your rankings start to grow around where you actually initially set it up. So, as far as when will you start getting calls, how many reviews, if you get that profile set up, primary category handyman, and you start building 5, 10 reviews, you can all but guarantee you have visibility in your neighborhood, maybe
Hmm.
like a mile or two around you. Depending, like if you're smack dab in the middle of Philadelphia, for example, the ranking radius is smaller because there's more people, more competition everywhere. And so you just have
Okay.
a smaller space to work with. But in the Midwest, I didn't look up your town specifically. It looks like outside of Ann Arbor. But
Yeah.
you can expect to start getting more traction when you update that primary category. I would say anyone that's got at least 5, 10 reviews, you'll start getting some base layer of traction and a floor of what you can expect from impressions and website clicks and phone calls. But to kind of expand on a question you didn't really ask there is, how many reviews do I need? You need reviews infinitely. Like you need to build reviews until you have the most reviews, and then you need to keep building them. Reviews should be a part of your process to
Yeah.
ask every single person because you can always use another review.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I have on my notes to update my Google profile. Um, because I didn't even know that was a thing, to be honest. Which, hey, I'm glad I'm getting some coaching here because I'm gonna make more money because of it. Okay, cool. So the answer is infinite reviews. Keep getting them. My goal is to be the highest rated handyman in my area. I looked around. There's like, I think the highest one right now is like 270.
Yeah,
What
if
what do you
franchises have quite a bit.
yeah, what are
Yeah,
you
they do.
currently doing right now to get reviews? Like how are you going?
Uh, so this is a follow-up question on that. Um, right now I just like provide a good service and people are happy. So they they're fine with leaving a review. If you're struggling to get reviews, I would strongly encourage just figure out how you have to make your service good enough that they're happy to leave you a review. Because
Mhm.
if they're really happy with your service, they're not going to hesitate. Um, but my process has been do the work. If they are happy with the work, which most of the time they are, there's occasionally times where customers, I don't know, maybe they didn't have the money and they felt like you overcharged or something. I won't ask for a review for that in that case.
Hmm.
But if they're happy, I ask for a review, and that's how I've gotten the 32 reviews. But a follow-up question with that is a new marketing campaign or a new way to sell jobs that I've started doing is organic Nextdoor marketing. So getting my customers to make public posts on Nextdoor. I
Mhm.
want this to be 10 times as effective as me making a post about myself. And it generates a lot of work. But should I be asking customers for both a Google review and a post on Nextdoor? My only concern is I don't want to like overload the customer with like asking them to do all these things for me.
Yeah. That's going to depend on like your phrasing. You could certainly be like, "Hey, if you don't mind leaving a Google review or making a post on Nextdoor, that would be awesome." And someone who's really stoked about the service and honestly has a great relationship with you, has a great client experience, they're going to do
Mhm.
both.
Okay.
So it's probably a matter of phrasing. Um, One other point that came to mind was, oh, on the reviews, just so all our listeners are clear, since this is a hybrid podcast slash almost coaching session, learning session here for all of
Yeah.
us. In your Google profile settings, there's a little widget that says "Get Reviews," and it'll spit out a link that's kind of short. Keep that in a note on your phone at a base layer, so you've always got it to text. We're not to do too much self promotion here, but I'm super stoked. We've got a bunch of template Canva resources that we're going to be rolling out on our site here this next month. And one of those is going to be QR code review business card. So imagine a business card that you leave that says, we appreciate you leaving us a review, and it's got a QR code that someone scans it and it instantly opens up your Google review form. So that's kind of some next level, like how can you consistently get reviews?
Yeah.
But grab that link at a base level in your profile, add it to a note on your phone, and just start getting in the habit, make it a process to ask your clients. But I love your idea there of asking for a post on Nextdoor or a Facebook community group. That's really sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my next, and that's kind of like a current strategic play I'm making right now is I'm kind of only dialing in Nextdoor because I'm seeing a lot of leads come in and I'm workshopping how do I get every single customer I work with to make a post. Because what's cool about Nextdoor is you get a customer from Nextdoor from maybe a post another customer made about you. They already use the platform. You provide a great service, and then you're like, hey, would you share your experience on
Right.
Nextdoor? And you get an infinite cycle going. And the power of Nextdoor is that one person makes a post, and just based off my like organic marketing, looking at the views, there might be 5,000 people that see that great review of you, and then you'll see like 20 hearts on it. That's
Mhm.
5,000 people that now view your business like they trust you more.
Yep.
And so if you ever make, let's say, a post actually sharing about your services, you're going to have way higher conversions because they've already seen 10 other customers share their great experience with you. And if there's one lesson that I've learned since starting is like put your customer first. There,
Mhm.
it's really hard to lose if you just really care about helping people because in the end, that's what you're hired to do.
Yeah. The cool thing about Nextdoor too is it's neighborhood specific. So if
Yeah.
you can only see your neighborhood, but if you do work for someone in the next neighborhood and ask them to post on their next door, like you can't post on that next door. You can't see that post. But so that's expanding your territory. And I think one thing that comes to my mind is kind of what Jason was saying is to create a flyer with two options. The top one would be a QR code to leave a review on Google, and the
Hmm.
bottom would be a QR code to make a post on Nextdoor. And
Okay.
just tell them straight up. Say, "Hey, I'm like I would use everything you got for you. Like if you got it, flaunt it, right? I'm an 18-year-old kid and I'm really looking at growing this thing and I really want to help people out. And there two ways that you could help me out is you could leave me a review on Google and make a post on Nextdoor. They would help me out just amazing, right? I mean, everyone's heard, right? They're like, "Oh, this next generation of kids, they don't want to do
Yeah.
anything." Well, ma'am, I really want to work hard. I really want to make a difference in this world. And I think that people would do both those options for you. So, I don't think there's any problem with asking for both things.
Okay.
If you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no. So, you might
Yeah.
as well ask. Just
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's like,
you get good at
that's cool.
someone telling you no. And so I love all the points here, guys. Like Ben, your commitment to just taking care of people. I do believe that you're going to win regardless if that's your focus is caring for people and putting them above yourself. I think that's a winning business principle. And whenever you ask for a review, do it honestly. And the honest truth of it is, hey, would you mind doing me a favor? And taking some time out of your day, leave me a Google review. If you could share a post on Nextdoor, it's a huge help to me and my business. I would greatly appreciate it. If not, it's all good. I'd be happy to help you again anytime. Feel free to reach out. Like that is the honest truth of authentically asking somebody for a favor, and it's going to help you. And that truth, that authenticity, is going to increase the likelihood that someone actually does it because there's real impact there.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I love the flyer idea. I'm putting that on my notes because then it's easy access. Like, and what I probably will even have them do is like, hey, scan this QR code, leave a Google review right now. And then I'll have the Google review dialed in. And then I'll be like, when you get a chance, if you could make a post just sharing your experience with my services, that'd be awesome. And then maybe I leave the flyer with them and they can do that on their own time.
Yeah, and the flyer, QR to business card, whatever it is that you can leave, it speaks to a bigger point too to certainly focus on is anything that can be processed and repeated, do that.
Yeah.
You get in this flow of you leave the card, you got that dialed in. Okay, well, I always send a follow-up text or an email asking about Nextdoor or a Facebook group. Have a look at start with a note on your phone that you copy paste. That seems like a minor thing, but when you're doing it
Mhm.
50 times in a month, How
Yeah.
many minutes is that? That's 2 minutes per email that you're trying to figure out. Oh yeah, I type this all the
Mhm.
time. That's 100 minutes. That's almost 2 hours of time saved, and that's more profitability, more efficiency. So anyway, just anything you can kind of process and put on a card or put in a template that you can send
100%.
is going to be a winning way to go about it. One last point, Ben, before I forget
Mhm.
about this is on your Google profile, we're talking about reviews here. You go grab that review link. One other guidance point I'd have for you is right now your business name is All-Star Handyman space LLC. There is no space between All-Star and Handyman. Put a space in there. It's a minor,
Okay.
it's a minor grammatical detail. If any listeners out there, check your Google profile. If it's all lowercase Jason's Handyman Service with an all caps LLC, it looks unprofessional. I know we're not all English majors here, but having proper spacing, punctuation, like your business name should be capitalized on Google. The LLC, I like seeing that in there. So anyway, that's one guidance point I'd have for you is add that space. It's minor, but it also actually breaks out that keyword handyman separately in its own
Mhm.
word. So that's useful. Most productively though, someone researching they just don't think, oh, they didn't put a space there. That's their Google. How'd they not see that? Like, what other details are they missing? So, pay attention to those little details on the Google profile, proper punctuality, spacing, etc. So just add that space. So one last little point there on the Google profiles that I didn't want to forget about for you.
Awesome.
That's huge. And reply to your reviews, right? Reply to every
Yeah. Okay. I've
um
not done that yet.
and another kind of note on that flyer and the text message, saving it in your clipboard and stuff like that, is this is way down the road. You've only been in this 5 months, but like, I love coaching and helping people kind of, grow their business with employees, and it's all about, can you duplicate what you're doing, right? Is it
Yeah.
duplicatable? And so leaving a flyer is simple, and that's something that's very easy to train an employee to do at every job. You just leave a flyer, and this is what you say to them, right? And then you also text them this link, or in your CRM, you can set it up where it texts the link. So when you're creating systems to actually grow your business with employees, is you want to make everything easy to do by someone who's not you. So like that's
Yeah.
just an example of creating, a duplicatable process.
I'm planning
Absolutely.
to get employees in the next 1 to 2 years. So I want to be learning a little bit about how to set up for employees. And that's probably something I'll come to you, Alan, with in the Handyman Mastermind group.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
you're already in the Handyman Academy, so you're in a great place for it for sure.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
One point on that is definitely like if your goal is to hire employees and grow a
Yeah,
business, you need to find things that require Ben, that require Jason, that require Alan. Anything that absolutely requires you should not be done, or it should be improved and
yeah,
processed in a way that it could be done by somebody else. Because
yeah,
there's lots of things that it takes time to, grow yourself out of it, like reviewing your profit and loss statement in QuickBooks. You're going to be doing that for a long time as the owner.
yeah,
So, you get the idea though, if you're doing a service like small engine repair. We have handymen that they're handymen, owner operators. They do small engine repair. Can they have 5 employees that can all do small engine repair?
yeah.
No.
Okay.
So the owner has to come out and do that. That's going to detract the owner from doing the business stuff. And so just like it's not black and white. There's gray areas, but
Yeah.
to be spotting those things that you can improve or process to ultimately remove Ben from the equation.
Mhm.
The last encouragement, since you brought that up, this comes down to personal preference. I'm a big advocate of patience when it comes to growing a business. I think that anyone that just started, be full time for at least 1 full year in business so you can experience the seasonality,
Mhm.
build up your own profitability, pricing structure, be consistently booked out as an owner operator before you hire somebody. You're going
Yeah.
to be much better off running at a profitability, like running profitably, booked out, having your systems, your marketing in place, and hiring somebody than kind of shooting from the hip and if you haven't been in business around Thanksgiving, Christmas, and you like just started in the spring and blew up in the summer because that's the busy season, and then Thanksgiving rolls around and you got to let your two guys go because you didn't know about the slow season. It is real. There's ways to combat it, but not to detract from, I do recommend at least spending 1 full year in business as an owner operator, booked out, to really have that experience and let the business simmer in a way so you can thoughtfully grow, patiently
Yeah.
grow, profitably grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's super smart. I mean,
Yep.
100% agree.
I love it.
All right, friends, that's a wrap of this episode of the Handyman Success Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on your journey in building a thriving handyman business. We would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Whether you learned something new or you're facing challenges that you're just not quite sure how to deal with, we would absolutely love to hear from you. We would love it if you would leave us a review, drop us a comment, or hit that like button telling us that you liked this episode. By doing this, you truly help and support us in creating more of these podcast episodes to help change the handyman industry to something amazing. And I want you to remember that you are not alone on this journey. Jason and I are here to help. If you need anything at all in regards to business or marketing, you can reach out to either Jason or I at handymansuccess.net. You can go over there right now and set up a free consultation call with either of us. We would absolutely love to talk with you. So thanks again for spending this time with us. And until next time, go out and be a blessing.